Thanks for tuning in to GTO Good Old Boys. Buckle up and enjoy the show with your host, Paul Ponder.
Hey guys and gals, I'm Paul Ponder. I'm the host of the GTO Good Old Boys. We want to really tell you how much we appreciate y'all tuning in tonight and showing support for GTO Good Old Boys. We have a special guest here today that I think the world of, Mr. Rocky Drake.
Thank you, Paul.
He has some past that we're going to find out a little bit about his past.
Okay.
So, Rocky, let's start back to when, before your TV show.
Okay.
You start where you want to in your life, and you bring us forward, okay?
Well, I grew up in this area, just outside of Huntsville, Big Cove area. And
right.
Where I grew up was at the end of a gravel road. Now, this is a long time ago.
Right.
And it was at the foot of a mountain. And so I grew up out in the country. I mean, my closest neighbor was across cotton field, you know what I mean, that type of thing.
Smoke signal.
Yeah. So anyway, I grew up out in the country, and I've always had a fascination with the outdoors, you know, with hunting and fishing.
Right.
And I had a lot of uncles back then that done a lot of hunting. So as I got older, they would take me hunting with them. And back then, you know, we had some ponds around and some little creeks, so that's what I would fish. And so anyway, that's kind of how I grew up. And I held that fascination, you know, as I got older.
Right.
And then, you know, when I was in high school, I wasn't much into football or baseball or nothing like that. I was more into the hunting thing, you know. Right. And a couple of my friends around the neighborhood close by, we'd go out squirrel hunting. Back then, there was no deer. It was just squirrel hunting and rabbit hunting and that type of thing. But then I kind of graduated into deer hunting a little bit. And we'd have to go to South Alabama back then, you know.
Okay, I was going to ask you where you went deer hunting.
Yeah, back then. And I can tell you a little story about my first time deer hunting if you want to hear it.
I'd love to hear it.
Well, there was some older fellas in the neighborhood. They'd all get together when deer season would open up, and then they'd go down to South Alabama at a place called Rowboats. And it was like you paid like $10 a day. And what they would do, they run these deer with dogs. Back then, that was popular.
Right.
Know? So you go down there, and what they do, they'd take you out and put you on stands.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then they'd separate everybody about 100 yards apart, and then the guys with the dogs, they'd go down and turn them dogs loose in them hollers and run them deer out and run them by the standers.
Right.
So first time I went deer hunting, I went down there, and I was probably about maybe 12, 13 years old, something like that. And I had to bar. They used buckshot back then, you know. So I had to bar a friend of mine's shotgun with buckshot because I didn't have one. So anyway, we get down there, and they walk us out this fence line. They wouldn't let me load my gun until everybody got out of sight because I was so young, you know. So anyway, they set me down by this big old oak tree, and I didn't have my gun loaded, and I was sitting there and watching these guys, you know, and they said, "Don't load your gun, you can't see us anymore."
Right.
So anyway, so I was sitting there, and I kept waiting on them to get out of sight. And by the time I got out of sight, I started loading my gun. I heard something. Here come a buck walking right by me. And I didn't have my gun loaded. Oh, no. Yeah. So that was my first. So it walked by me. The guy next to me shot the deer. Okay?
Right.
So I thought, man, so I heard him load my gun, you know. And so about, I don't know, it's probably 45 minutes later, I heard something behind me coming up the hollow.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of looked over my shoulder, and it was a nice rack buck.
Wow.
And I got so tore up, I forgot to even... I just sat there. That deer, he just walked by me, and I had the buck fever so bad. He walked to the next guy on the other side of me, and he shot that one.
So you've got one dead on one side and one on the other.
Yeah, so I didn't get nothing. But anyway, that was my first time.
That right there is very special. I can remember I've been on a couple of those hunts like that.
Right, yeah.
But I never had no bucks come up on me.
Well, it was a long time after that before I got another chance at one.
Oh, okay. All right. So you're just being honest all the way out.
Yeah, yeah. I was just.
Well, that's good. So you went from that into taxidermy.
Well, that was later on. Yeah, you know what? I've always kind of had a fascination with animals. And
right.
So when we got our driver's license, all my friends.
Right.
There was a management area close by. It was called Skyline Management Area, which is not far from here. You know? And so that was the only public hunting that was available. So we started going up there, and of course, everybody and their brother went up there. There's lots of people up there. So I never did. During that time, I never did shoot a deer there. So, anyway, we started doing, and the whole time. This is during deer season. I've done a lot of fishing in the spring and gravel pits, type things like that. So, anyway, so as I got older, I started getting into bow hunting. And kind of what got me into bow hunting.
Recurve?
No, I've never shot a deer with a recurve.
All right.
It's all been compounds. I tried to shoot one with a recurve one time. It went like 3 foot over his back. But anyway, so this Skyline Management Area, it was open. It opened during bow season, and it stayed open till the end of season. And they had to have gun hunts on the weekends when rifle season was open. So I pretty much had that. Nobody bow hunted. Now, this is back in the 76, 77, 78, back then. So there wasn't a lot of people bow hunting back then. And that was before you had real tree camouflage, mossy oak camouflage.
You just wore what you had.
Yeah, you just wore what you had.
That's it.
So, anyway, because I could hunt Skyline pretty much through the whole season with a bow, with a bow. So I started getting into bow hunting, and so I got real lucky in 1982. I was up at Skyline, and I shot this great big 10-point with my bow.
Oh man!
Yeah, it was a really big one. And boy, then I was just hooked on bow hunting.
Right.
That's it,
Right.
And back then, that's when I first. You remember them big red 3-wheelers?
Yes.
3-wheelers.
Yes.
Big reds.
Big reds. Yes.
That's the first time I ever seen one.
Really?
That's when they first came out, and I thought, ain't nobody ever gonna buy them silly looking things. Little did I know.
They'll turn over.
Oh, they will. But then you progress into the 4-wheelers.
Right.
But that's how far back I started bow hunting.
Right.
So, I was really, really, really into bow hunting. And the next year, there's a place called Coal Mine Mountain, which is in Madison County. And my uncles had some of the land leased up there. And, of course, they didn't think I was going to shoot nothing with a bow,
Right.
Yeah, come on up, hunt with us.
Yeah.
Well, I go up there and shoot this big 11-pointer.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, that kind of
put a quietus on it.
With a bow.
Okay.
Yeah, with a bow. And
right.
That was in 82 and 83. And so, that's when I really got real serious about it.
Right. Exactly.
So anyway, and then just one thing led to the other. So then I started, I thought, well, if I start some kind of business where it would free me up and I could hunt when I wanted to or fish when I wanted to, that would be great. So I started my taxidermy business.
Let's stop right there.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to go to a break. We're going to come back with how to start your taxidermy business and with Rocky Drake. Y'all make sure you don't move.
GTO,
we'll be back in just a few minutes.
This.
Welcome to Eden's Energy and Protein. We are now open on Saturdays 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. and Sundays 1 p.m. to 7 p.m. until school is out. We offer T-bombs, protein shakes, coffee, shaved ice cream, banana splits, and last but not least, everyone's favorite, the most delicious milkshakes. Come by and see us. Don't miss out on a great sweet treat after a long day on the water. We are located right outside of Waterfront at 6955 Scottsboro Highway. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Eden's Energy and Protein. Thank you, and we hope to see you soon.
Now back to more with GTO, Good Old Boys.
Hey guys, welcome back. We're here with Mr. Rocky Drake today, and we're going to get into his YouTube channel here in just a few minutes. But before that, we left with taxidermy and his love for the outdoors, his love for the animals, learning how to mount them based on how they act in the outdoors. Right,
That's
Rocky?
Right. That's exactly right.
So just take us into how you got interested in that.
Well, I thought if I started me a taxidermy business, it would free me up to be able to hunt when I wanted to.
Right.
It's all about being able to hunt and fish, basically, when I wanted to.
Right.
So when you work in a factory or something like that. You can't do that.
Right.
So I wanted some kind of a business where I could pretty much call my own shots as far as my time schedule. And with taxidermy, I could do it. I could work at night. I could work early in the mornings and hunt, that type of thing.
Right.
So I got into that, and back then there was no other taxidermist in Huntsville or in this area. I was the only one. I was the first one that done it as a business type thing. So I got into that, and it really took off. And then I got so busy, I didn't hardly have time to go hunting and fishing. So I mean, that's
it shuts you down.
But anyway, I always made time to hunt and fish because everybody needs a purpose.
Right.
Everybody needs something that they have a passion for.
Yes.
It keeps you on the straight and narrow.
Yes, it does.
I mean?
I do know what you mean, Rocky.
And so with fishing and hunting in the outdoors, that's always been my straight and narrow.
And see, it also keeps you insane, too, because a lot of times we got a lot of folks that's 40, 50, and 60-year-old that they think their life is not worth living anymore.
I know.
If they will turn to the outdoors, just like you just got through saying, and have a purpose, you can get a purpose in the outdoors.
Yeah.
Real easy.
You can. And with me, it's just in me.
Right.
Because my uncles, my family on my mama's side,
right,
mostly on my mama's side, my dad's side, a little bit of hunting, not much, more fishing on my dad's side.
Okay.
He's the crappie fisherman. He just turned 90. He just turned 93. Matter of fact.
You're kidding me.
Yeah, he's 93
that is
years old.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Man, that's family. That is a big time family.
Yeah, and I've had him on my YouTube channel a time or two.
Good.
I got a friend of mine's got a little lake, and I can take him down there. And
yes.
It's not a big deal. And he can catch him big old bluegill and stuff. He loves it. He's already asked me about going back. So.
Is it not fun?
Oh yeah, I love it.
So family fishing, it can be fun, can't it?
Yeah, you gotta have
fantastic.
Yeah, and so that, like I say, the outdoors has just always been. So anyway, that's why I started my taxidermy business. And then when you start a taxidermy business, you meet a lot of neat folks through that. And you meet wealthy people who's got money, and just your average, and so just a wide range of different, folks.
Correct.
And so I made a lot of friends, and then I started getting into booking hunts for folks.
Oh.
So, if somebody wanted to go on a moose hunt, I would get in touch with the outfitter. And I'd put these hunts together for these guys, and then we'd all go on a moose hunt, and then I'd get the taxidermy business off of it.
There you go. So, exactly.
Not only moose, I mean caribou, mountain goat, bear.
Anything you wanted to hunt.
Yeah, I'm pretty much all over Canada, and a lot of elk hunting out west. Done a lot of that, mule deer hunting. A lot of whitetail hunting, a lot of deer hunting. So,
and you mounted a lot of fish. We got 2 of them you mounted here at Waterfront.
Well, you do. I used to do a lot of fish back in the early '90s. I mean, people got a lot of fish mounted,
right?
And now they don't mount them. You know what I mean?
Get them replicas, I guess, or just turn them loose.
Yeah. Speaking of, if you look right back here, I don't know if you can see that right there.
Yep. There you go,
folks. That 8x10 right there. That's back in the early '90s. That is the Guntersville Lake record bass right there.
And what did it weigh? Do you
14.8.
14.8, 14.5 pounds.
Yeah, Charlie Burgess caught it.
Charlie Burgess.
And I done the taxidermy work and put it in a real nice glass case.
Where is it now?
I really don't know.
I'd like to have it here.
Yeah,
you think that's possible?
I don't know. You might get in touch with the family. I would love to see it down here. It was at the museum in Guntersville, but I don't think it's there anymore.
Okay. But
I remember.
Well, I'll call Mike then.
Yeah, call Mike. You know Mike. Yeah.
Yes, I do.
But old Charlie called me and said, "Man, I got one for you." And so I met him in town there. We went down to the post office down on Governor's Drive because you had to have certified scales.
In Huntsville.
And we took that fish down there and weighed it on certified scales to get a certified weight.
What did they say when you walked in the post office with a fish?
I don't know.
It didn't really matter, did it?
It didn't make no difference. But anyway, we got it certified, and that's still the Guntersville Lake record.
It sure is.
And I remember back then, folks said, "Oh, that won't last. Well, it's lasted. Man.
It's been, what year do you remember?
92.
92.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
that's something somebody can shoot for.
Yeah, they can shoot for it.
That's right.
But back then, speaking about taxidermy work, I mean, I mounted a whole lot of 10-pound plus fish back then, bass out of Gunner's Field.
Right.
A lot of them. I know they still catch them.
Right.
But I think back then, for some reason, there were just a lot more of those great, big, giant fish.
Would you say it's pressure?
I don't know. That gets a lot of pressure.
It sure does.
I went out there the other day, and I bet you there was 300 or 400 boats out there.
Wow, that's a bunch.
I mean, it was boat after boat after boat.
Well, now that you're intrigued over fishing, you've got a YouTube channel.
I do. Well, I just completely quit hunting.
Okay.
I'll tell you a little story about that. We had a farm in Tennessee, and of course, I haven't shot a deer with a gun since 1979.
Right.
So it's all been archery, bow hunting. So we had this farm in Tennessee, and I was starting kind of, after you do something so long, you kind of want something a little different,
Right.
And so, and I just bought this boat that I'm fishing out of now. So I was kind of getting into fishing a little bit at the time, but there was this great big deer showed up on our place. It had a non-typical.
Oh.
Yeah. And I thought, man, I had a trip booked in Kansas that year. I was going to go out. I canceled it because I wanted to hunt this deer.
Right.
I mean, he had like 26 points. Okay.
Good gracious.
Yeah, he's a big one. And so I was going to hunt that deer the whole season. That's what I like to do. I like to hunt one particular. I pick out one particular deer and then I hunt that one deer.
Right.
So anyway, I was just going to hunt that one deer. If it took me the whole season,
right.
I shot him the first time I sat in a tree opening weekend.
Son of a gun.
So, I just got lucky.
Yeah, but that made you happy.
That made me so. It was a really nice, big, non-typical looking. I've always wanted to shoot one like that. So I ended it. I ended my hunting career on that deer.
Well, I'll be darned.
Yeah, I said, it's not going to get any better than this.
That's
right. I just started fishing.
So then you went to YouTube. What caused you to get into the YouTube part?
Well, let me.
You're old as
You know
I
what?
am.
We left out my TV show.
That's right. Let's go back and check the TV show. I forgot about it.
Well, I started TV.
Rocky Drake Outdoors.
Yeah, so I have some TV experience. Okay, I started a TV show in 1999.
Okay.
And it stayed on the air for 10 years.
Right.
And it was more of a hunting, but I did have some fishing in there. But when I started that TV show, I was absolutely ignorant about what I was getting into. Let me tell you something. Ignorance will get you a long way in life.
That's right. Exactly.
Because if you don't know what you're getting into, you're not scared of it.
There you go. Good point, Rocky.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So as I got into this TV stuff, of course, you got to deal with sponsors.
Right.
And I'm going to tell you what, that's a booger. TV's a booger. It's hard to get people to spend. And I was lucky, man. I just had the connections and ended up getting sponsored, the TV show. But anyway, I ran it for 10 years. So I had TV. Getting to the YouTube thing. Well, when I quit the TV thing, that was in 1999 or 2000, right around that area. I didn't want to have anything else to do with being on TV because I done had enough of it.
Right.
And so I didn't think anything about YouTube. I never watched no YouTube. Well, of course, back then, there probably wasn't any YouTube. It was just coming out. I wished I had started back then.
Right.
But anyway, so I didn't know anything about YouTube. But folks kept, as the years went on, man, you need to start your YouTube channel. You got that experience TV in, because I'm really not bashful in front of a camera. Okay.
Right.
And so I just kept brushing. Well, I didn't want to get into having to get sponsors and all that kind of stuff. It's just really hard to do. So one day I was down at Gunnersville Dam. Well, I've always liked to live bait fish. That's my deal, okay?
Right.
I used to go to Pickwick with a good friend of mine, Ronnie Leatherwood, and he was a big live bait guy. I met him over there. And we drift minnows and catch these big smallmouth, and it's just a lot of fun. So I'm just into the live bait thing. And most YouTube's fishing videos are more artificial stuff, and that's what they do. And boy, my hat's off to them. When they can go out there and catch all them fish with them artificial lures, yeah, my hat's off to them.
You got that right.
And so my deal is the live bait. So anyway, when I got the boat, I was doing a lot of fishing, but I wasn't filming. Okay, so I was down at Gunnersville Dam, and I was down there catching bait. I throw a cast net and catch my own bait. I call it all natural swim bait.
Right, there you go, all natural swim bait.
Now you can buy those golden shiners like here and GTO. They work just as good. you know, if you don't
Right.
throw a cast net. But I was kind of getting into the fun of throwing a cast net and that type of thing.
Right.
So I was down there and I was throwing that cast net. I was on the bank, and there's another guy there doing the same thing. And I kind of looked at him. I said, "You look kind of familiar." He said, "Well, I'm Richard Gene, the fishing machine." So I said,
Okay.
"Well," I'd heard his name, but I hadn't. And I watched maybe one or two of his videos. But he's a big YouTuber. I mean,
Yes.
Richard is giant on YouTube. You know, one of the most watched YouTube fishing channels out there.
Exactly.
So that's how me and him met. So we kind of hit it off, this and that, and he wanted to check my bait tank out and see what it looked like because he was interested. So he ended up going. We went out on the lake together in my boat and done a video for his channel, and where he could see how the bait tank and everything worked. And so when we got done, he said, "Dude, you need your own YouTube channel," you know. Oh, I remember Richard saying, "Wow, you ain't camera shy, are you?" That's before we went fishing. I said, "No, I don't think so." So anyway, so I said, "I don't know, Richard." He said, "Wow, you don't have to." I said, "Oh, man, I don't have to go get sponsors." And he said, "Oh, no, you don't have to do that." He said, they put them all in there, you know. I mean, it might be Honda truck or something like that, but all I got to do is go do the videos, edit them, and then they do everything else, you know.
Right.
So I got to think. Well, I learned how to. I'm kind of ignorant when it comes to computers. I'm telling you, I didn't even know how to cut one on. Okay, so my wife, she helped me a whole lot, and I know she got aggravated with me, kind of.
I'm sure she did.
You know what I mean? But no, she was real good about it. I got a good woman, Tony.
I'm sure you do.
met her. You met
Yep,
Angela.
She is special.
She's special, and she's a sweetheart. And she's always supported me.
Yep. Just like mine.
Yeah, anything that as far as the outdoors fishing, always. So I finally figured out how to edit it. And I do all my editing on iPad. I don't have all these big screens to do the editing. I do it all on iPad with a editing thing. So I figured out how to edit my own videos. So I knew going out and getting the footage wasn't going to be no trouble.
Right.
So anyway, I went out and I just started putting some videos together, this and that, and Richard's really helped me to get the word. The main thing with the YouTube channel is getting the word out, getting it out in front of people so they can see. And of course, you got to have quality content.
Correct.
To for them to subscribe and want to watch. You know what I mean?
Correct.
So anyway, and now the YouTube channel I've had a little over 2 years now, and it's doing really well.
That's great.
Yeah. So appreciate it if y'all check it out. It's called Rocky Drake Outdoors.
There you go. You got to put
On
the
YouTube.
plug in. That's right.
You know, so anyway, and I just it's just fun fishing. It's,
Right.
I mean, it's high energy. It's fast paced. It's a little bit different, I guess, than some of the channels out there. You know, it's, you know, I get real excited when I catch fish.
I can tell the ones I've watched.
Yeah, it ain't, you know, I mean, I do get excited. It can be one that long or that long.
That's
I get
it.
excited. I just love catching fish.
Right.
And you know, so anyway, that's it.
That's
on
basically
YouTube.
it.
Yeah,
Well, that sounds like a
YouTube.
winner.
Yeah.
Well, guys, we're fixing to go to a break. We'll be back just in a few minutes to end our Rocky Drake interview. Rocky Drake Outdoors on YouTube. Don't forget him.
We'll be back with more GTO Good Old Boys after this. Now back to more with GTO Good Old Boys.
Hey, guys and gals, we're back here with Mr. Rocky Drake, Rocky Drake Outdoors on YouTube. And what we're going to do is he does a lot of smallmouth fishing with live bait. And I'm going to put him on the spot right here, and I'm going to say, Rocky, I want you to tell us about the best live bait episode that you've ever put on YouTube and where the people can find it after you get through telling us how it went.
Okay. Well, one afternoon I just kind of thought, well, I'm going to run down to the river. It's just one of them last minute things, you know. And so it's Tennessee River, Wheeler Lake here.
Okay.
And so I go down. Now, the bait that I use, I catch in the cast net, they're called threadfin shad.
Okay.
Okay, we call them yellowtails because they got a little chartreuse yellow on their tail there.
Okay.
So anyway, so I go down to the river there, and I called a buddy of mine. He was going to meet me down there. So I go out there and I catch the bait before he gets there. And I got this bait tank that I keep it in. You got to, you know, we can get into that, but that's a whole different story. But anyway, so he's kind of ain't got there yet. So I thought, I'm just going to go here and see. So anyway, I go down on these bridge columns down here on the river. And the first little flip of that minute pitch out there, man, I catch like a 5.5 pound smallmouth. I'm thinking, okay. You know, and I'm filming all this now. Well, second pitch, I catch another bigger than that. I didn't weigh any of these fish at the time. I didn't have my scales with me.
Right.
I've mounted enough fish. I can look at them, get real close. These were big smallmouth.
Right.
Make a long story short, well, finally he calls me, so I have to go pick him up, and we come back down. And he and I sat there for 2 hours, and I caught 5 smallmouth, 5.5 to 6.5 pounds.
Good gracious.
And he, bless his heart. I mean, you got to have a little knack for how just like slide bait fishing. He'll catch big fish, but you got to kind of know what the feel. You got to get the feel for it.
I got you.
And this was all new to him. He ended up catching one really nice one. He let a couple of get off or whatever. But that was to catch that many big. They were just in there, and it was just about every time. And I was catching them on minnows that were like 8 inches long.
Wow.
Yes, sir. Big minnows.
Wow.
Big bait will catch
now, how
you.
thick are those minnows?
They can be that wide. You know,
Inch and a half?
Yeah. I mean, big bait will catch big fish. I know that for a fact.
Now, how do you hook them?
Right through the lip.
You go from the bottom to the top.
Yeah, just kind of through the snoot.
Okay.
Through the nostril hole.
I got you.
It's all, you can see all that in my videos. A lot of the videos I explain what I'm doing. I try to anyway.
Right.
Sometimes I'm not the best at it. I'm getting a little bit better at it. The more videos I do, explain how I'm doing it, why I'm doing it.
Correct.
And that type of thing.
And I'm sure people send you text or whatnot.
They do.
How do you do this? How do you do that? And that gives you an idea of what to do.
They do, yes. And so I'm kind of, my channel, it's I guess, heavily entertaining more so than, I do explain stuff, what I'm doing, but I don't go into a lot of deep detail about
right.
it. You know what I mean? So, and it's all family oriented.
Right.
I mean, it's clean. I mean, and it's fun.
Well, family is a big part of fishing.
It's all about
Without family, you couldn't love fishing.
No.
Just like you said earlier,
Yes,
your family played a big part in your life.
It did.
But guys, listen, family has got out, and we're trying to bring it back in. We want everybody to love the outdoors, and if you've got a problem, go outside. Get one-on-one with God in the outdoors. He's the one that created it. And, through Jesus Christ, anything's possible. So, guys, thank your family. Hug your mama. Hug your daddy. Hug your brother. Hug your sister. It don't matter. Your uncle, your aunt. Get out there. Fish with family and friends, and I'll guarantee you'll have some fantastic fun. And with saying that, keep your lines tight and jerk them in. Don't forget, Rocky Drake Outdoors on YouTube. Thanks a lot.